Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Falsa, and today we're launching a brand new series, Warpet Academy. You know, I've had a lot of demand for a sort of Warpet's 101 guide. Honestly, that's a pretty big topic. I was having trouble figuring out how to start, how to scope it. But then I recalled in my old life, we used to have a saying, you can boil the ocean, you just do it one bucket at a time. So today we're starting with that first bucket, the Fierce Attack package. All right, every pet has their unique skills, that only their pet class can use, but the vast majority of pet skills are generic and can be put on any pet. And as you look through them, you'll notice that there are several packages in the generic skills, pet skills that are reliant or dependent on other specific skills. And the first package we're going to look at is the Fierce Attack package. The base skill here is Fierce Attack. It's a strength-based skill, and it triggers whenever your deputy casts their rage skill, doing physical damage to whatever you're targeting. The damage factor of Fierce Attack is based on the star level of the skill and the strength of your pet. Now, a few things to note. First, Fierce Attack does physical damage. If you run this in a legion of mages or celestials, it does no damage regardless of who the commander is. Now, if you have mixed magic and physical legions, which really only should ever occur in a city defense, the damage factor is only going to look at the physical legions in that city or whatever. Second, Fierce Attack has no range limitations. This is going to work in melee, it'll work in archer range, elk riders are great with it, fine. Alright, now the mage range is very far. It's not going to work with magic legions, but if you happen to be running this in archers in a season with long range warfare, it's going to work fine there as well. Third, your deputy must have a rage skill for this to work. Your deputy's rage skill does not have to be a damaging skill. For example, if you run this with Hosk as your deputy, that'll work just fine. But the vast majority of our heroes do have a rage skill. It's not 100%. For example, neither Magrat nor Zeta have rage skills. If either of them are your deputy, the pet talent Fierce Attack will never trigger. Now, Fierce Attack is generally going to be used as the secondary damage source in your pet, the primary damage source being the pet's talent skill. It will typically, in an apples-to-apples comparison, do substantially less damage than the primary skill. Now we're going to take a look at a fort rate here with my Frondel Theodore March. And the reason we're looking at this is my Berserk Phaedrake, obviously it has its talent skill and also has Fierce Attack. This is a very strong pet, everything's maxed out, so I'm trying to give you as best apples-to-apples comparison as I can. As we go through this cycle, you'll see 4 red numbers. The first red number is Frondel doing his rage skill. The second red number is the Fierce Attack. The third red number is Theodore during his rage skill. And then the fourth attack is the pet's talent skill. Alright, you can also tell when it's the pet because Frondel, Theodore don't have any crit chance, but the pet has a very high crit chance. And so whenever you see sort of the red explosion type symbol to the left, that means it crit. And whenever you see that, you know it's a pet attack. Okay, why are you showing this? Well, you'll see that the damage that the fort is taking from my pet talent skill is about 3 times as high as it's taking from the Fierce Attack, and everything's maxed out. Now look, it's not 100% apples to apples. The pet talent skill is based on agility, whereas Fierce Attack is obviously strength, and my pet has a much higher agility score than a strength score. The other thing is that Theodore, when he does his rage skill, puts a short-lived bruise debuff on the fort, which the pet talent skill takes advantage of, but Fierce Attack doesn't. Okay, so maybe instead of 3 times, it's 2.5 times. But still, you should understand that Fierce Attack is going to do less damage than your pet talent skill. It'll vary some, but it's almost always going to be less than the main talent. Okay, so Fierce Attack goes off when your deputy casts a rage skill 40% of the time. That 40% is hard-coded. It does not matter what the star level of the skill is or what the strength of your pet is. If you feel like 40% is a little low, I agree with you. Thankfully, we have a way to improve that rate. The next part of the Fierce Attack package is Intense Fierce Attack, which improves the trigger chance of Fierce Attack. The amount that Intense Fierce Attack will improve the trigger chance is dependent on the star level of Intense Fierce Attack and the luck of your pet. Alright, now Intense Fierce Attack can be purchased in the pet shop, at least up to the 2-star level. Now keep in mind what you're looking at here, that 12%, that's not taking into account the luck of your pet. The real boost to your Fierce Attack will be much higher. If you want to see what the actual value it is, you can go to a pet here, and I have sort of a lower level Berserk that we're looking at. Click on the Skills button, click on the star level you want to see. For example, take a look at 2 stars, and then you can click on the skill, and it'll show you that instead of 12%, it's something like 23.84% that it would boost it on this pet. So Intense Fierce Attack, that boosts the trigger chance of Fierce Attack, but that's it. Intense Fierce Attack has no other effects on the pet. Is there any way to improve the damage of Fierce Attack? Yes, first of all, you have the generic pet damage boosters that improve the damage of all physical pet damage. Stuff like Tooth and Claw and the pet crit package. We'll be covering those in another video. But specifically for Fierce Attack, we have the skill Advanced Fierce Attack. Advanced Fierce Attack is an Amber Store skill. It costs 3 Amber. But there was a time in the game when it wasn't yet in the Amber Store, and it could be purchased from the pet shop or caught on a random pet. So you'll see pets running around it with 0, 1, or 2-star Advanced Fierce Attacks like you see here. Obviously, you get it from the Amber shop now, it's going to be 3 stars. Advanced Fierce Attack improves the damage of your Fierce Attack by a percentage. That percentage is based on the star level of the skill and the agility of your pet. In case if you're wondering, that in the Dark Fork demonstration we looked at earlier, I did not have Advanced Fierce Attack on that pet. So these 3 skills are what comprise the Fierce Attack package. It's important to note that Fierce Attack does not need either of these other skills to function. Intense Fierce Attack and Advanced Fierce Attack make Fierce Attack stronger, but Fierce Attack will still do things, at least 40% of the time it'll do things, even if the others are not present. However, the vice versa is not true. Both Intense Fierce Attack and Advanced Fierce Attack need Fierce Attack to do anything. Sometimes I'll see pets that get sent in to me with Intense or Advanced on them, but not Fierce Attack itself. Those skills are doing literally nothing if Fierce Attack is not present on the pet. So that's how the package functions. Where should you use them? Well, Fierce Attack triggers, or at least has a chance to trigger, when your deputy does their rage skill. So we want to pair this pet with heroes that have fast rage cycles. Okay, other than their rage cycle, it doesn't matter what the heroes do. For example, heroes that run the skill tree and boost the hero's skill damage, that doesn't help the pet damage at all. We just care about fast rage cycles. All right, the obvious choice here is Cavalry. Cav will get that immediate rage cycle thanks to their unyielding rush skill. Fierce Attack is really the secondary damage source for every single Cav march in the game, and frankly, it's a solid choice for all of them. Any other marches? Well, archers generally not. Archers are generally looking to maximize normal attacks, and they won't prioritize speeding up the rage cycle very much. The G4 archers, Fulgrim and Sybil, they are more skill damage focused, and they're less normal attack focused than the prior generation archers. We haven't really seen them a ton. We've only had them for 1 season. People are still building out that pet. I expect to see them a lot more in this season, particularly since long range warfare is coming back. So, as people build out the pet and try this out, I'm at least open to the possibility that Fierce Attack might be an okay choice for the G4 archers. Okay, what about infantry? Well, infantry can get quick rage generation when they're getting slammed by many marches at the same time. Generally in those circumstances, you prefer AoE damage, which isn't the Fierce Attack package. Fierce Attack is all single target DPS. However, if you're in a situation where you really want to prioritize single target DPS with your infantry, there is a case for Fierce Attack. And is there any time when you want to really prioritize the 1v1 fight? Yeah, there is. It's the Rally Garrison fight. In the current game situation, a Danfell Mogro rally or garrison that prioritizes the 1v1 fight, Fierce Attack can be a very solid choice on the Moonbear. Okay, so that's the Fierce Attack package. Awesome for Cav, a bit of use for infantry, maybe a bit for archers. So how do I rate the individual parts of that package? Well, Fierce Attack is a very strong skill. I include it with my Cav pets, provided that I have enough skill slots to get it on there. I think Intense Fierce Attack is also very strong. In fact, I consider it a near must include to go along with Fierce Attack whenever I have that on the pet. 40% trigger chance on the base for Fierce Attack is just too low. I need Intense Fierce Attack to boost that up. Advanced Fierce Attack gives me a percentage boost only to the Fierce Attack damage. Remember, Fierce Attack will usually do substantially less damage than your primary talent skill on the pet. I think giving a percentage boost to my weaker damage source is a bad strategy. I would much rather give a boost to either all of my damage sources, or if I could only choose one, I would rather give the boost to my strongest damage source, which is almost always going to be my talent skill. At best I have 8 skill slots. It's really rare that I can find the space for advanced fierce attack on a pet that I'm really working on. Obviously I have it here, but this is really a secondary pet that I use for testing. All right. On top of this, advanced fierce attack, it's currently an amber skill. I don't think it's worth the amber to invest on. Now there are rare exceptions, if particularly in the Rally Garrison fight, but they are exceptions and they are rare. All right, so that's the fierce attack package. As a general rule, a great include for cav pets: get fierce attack, get intense fierce attack, skip advanced fierce attack. All right, and that's our first Warpet Academy. Like I said, ever since I started my channel, I've gotten a lot of requests for basic Pets 101 type videos. I really got caught up trying to figure out how to put out a comprehensive Warpets 101 guide, what that would look like, everything that needed to be in it, what the order would be, and so on. But then I had that moment of clarity, and so the plan is to just start taking topics one at a time, and over time we'll build up that collection, and people can click on the video that's useful for them. So on that note, if there's something about Warpets you'd like a video on, let me know. If you think it's too basic or too simple, don't think that, right? Warpets can be extremely confusing, and that was one of the main motivations for starting my channel in the first place, right? I spend a lot of time figuring this stuff out, running tests, etc. And if there's something you want to know, it's certain a bunch of other players have the same questions and want to know that answer as well. All right, so let me know in the comments below what future topics you'd like me to consider. Hey, that's it, and thank you to everyone for stopping by. If you enjoyed this content or found it helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button. Remember, you can send me your Warpets if you'd like me to take a look or review them, and I will be featuring the strongest Warpets in the game right here on this channel. Look for more details in the description below, and until next time, stay classy, Belleron.